Robin Schiller, we're going to talk about Lee McDonnell. Now, he died in Garda custody last weekend, but he was what we would describe as a career criminal with like dozens of convictions. Talk to me, though, to start with. Who was he? Where was he from?
So at the time of his death over the weekend, he was a 34-year-old man. He was born in June 1991 in Ballyfermot, and he grew up in what various court cases over the years would hear was a very difficult and chaotic upbringing. Even by his mid-teens, he was, in with the wrong crowd. He was building up convictions for robberies, for assaults, and that was only in the children's court. And then by the age of 19, he was suspected of carrying out a gun attack in the Clifton estate in Ballyfermot. Now he's arrested over that, but never charged. So that incident, he's built up 141 previous convictions, but there are other incidents he was never actually received a criminal conviction for. So there's a whole heap of a category of offences he was actually suspected of involvement in as well. And that was in his late teens.
And tell us about that incident then. Basically, a shooting incident that he was involved in at the age of 19.
Yeah, so him and another person were suspected of discharging a shotgun at a house in the Clifton estate. Now, I don't think anyone was injured in that incident, but the house was shot up basically as part of kind of local dispute, and it shows that even by the age of 19 he was hanging around with serious criminals. He was able to access serious weaponry and was happy enough to go around discharging firearms even at that young age.
Yeah, and I think as you go through his lifetimes and his criminal career, there is a degree of absolute recklessness features throughout it. Like he came across as a guy who didn't care. He had no filter.
Yeah, that's kind of hits the nail on the head with him. He didn't seem to think too much about his crimes. Some of it was very impulsive. Some of it might have had a bit more thought into it. Some of it was for monetary gain. He was linked to at least one murder that he was facing a potential murder charge for. That would have been for a significant bounty, for want of a better word. So there was different, degrees of violence he's involved in. Some was for monetary gain, and some was just sheer impulsiveness and recklessness. And you can see it by the number of convictions he built up in some of those court cases where evidence was given. He didn't put much thought into the crimes he was carrying out at times.
There's a level of violence here as well. There's a machete attack. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so just a few months after that shooting at the house in 2011, he's involved in a serious assault on a young man. That person was effectively lured to an apartment complex in Ballyfermot on the pretense of meeting an ex-girlfriend, I think it was. Lee McDonnell and another associate appeared and just absolutely launched a volley of machete blows onto this man. He was cut across the body, knife injuries to his ear, his face, his body, his tendons were cut because of it. He was eventually jailed over that, but even while he was on bail for that, then the offending continued. In January 2012, he went on a bit of a crime spree. Him and another associate carried out an aggravated burglary on a person's home in Ballyfermot. They beat him over the head with a metal pole. They took his car keys, robbed his car, and then with that car they targeted the Sarsfield service station nearby. Lee McDonnell produced a replica firearm. He used it to beat the shop owner over the head with the butt of the gun. He was seriously injured, and they stole a quantity of cigarettes and sunglasses, I think it was. So, even while on bail for serious crimes, he was just absolutely reckless and, carrying out wanton destruction basically across the area.
Yeah, he wasn't a guy who sought to go under the radar. I mean, he really did enjoy his notoriety.
He loved it, yeah, and the prime example of that would have been in around 2012 when he was serving custodial sentences. For the aggravated burglary I mentioned there and the robbery, he received sentences of 9 years in total. And a Facebook video would have appeared online showing him in custody in prison with a pigeon. And it caused really public outcry at the time because such a horrendous video. He was with this pigeon. He was goaded on by his other inmates, and then he ripped the head off the pigeon while everyone was laughing around him. And he kind of said, comments along the lines of, "Look, we're meant to be in prison here, and look what we're doing. Get up!" and all the rats out there, and just this kind of bravado showing as well after killing an animal that was causing no harm to him. And that was uploaded on social media, obviously to kind of show what he was doing and this kind of bravado coming out again of
kind of making a mockery as well of the prison system, basically saying I'm locked up, but I'm doing what I want in here.
Yeah, and it shows you have a number of things going on there. You have a mobile phone being brought in illegally. You have a pigeon, which obviously isn't, allowed in the prison system. You have an animal being hurt and killed in that horrible way, and then you have it being uploaded. So there's no real fear of consequences there if they're willing to do this kind of stuff. If Lee McDonnell was willing to do this kind of stuff and have it openly shared online as well.
Yeah, and this is the point that he was showing off to others, and there were other young criminals who were looking up to him, and there's a prime example of that rather backfired.
Yeah, so even back then he would have been in his early 20s, and he would have been looked up to by various young people, not just in Ballyfermot, but also kind of further afield involved in criminality. And the prime example of that was Daniel McDonnell. Now, he was no relation to Lee McDonnell, but he was certainly idolised by him. Daniel McDonnell was suspected of carrying out the murder of Melanie McCarthy McNamara in Tala earlier that year, and he was on remand or in the youth offender institution, St Patrick's, for a separate offence at the time. And for reasons only known to him, he decided to pen 2 letters. One was to an ex-girlfriend and one was to Lee McDonnell. And in that letter, he wrote about, his adoration for Lee McDonnell. Essentially, kind of said how much he looked up to him, that he hoped he kept the protection landing on lockdown, that, they're going to run this place when he gets out. And then, for reasons only known to him, he decided to make admissions about that murder. He said, he made derogatory comments about Miss Melanie McCarthy's boyfriend. He said he left his girl all over the front page of the Sunday World, and gave kind of very descriptive narrative of what he did to that young teenage girl who was only 16. That was seized by prison officers as a standard. They looked at his mail, they checked the correspondence, and that effectively was a big part of the case, the prosecution against him, and led to Daniel McDonnell receiving a murder conviction because he tried to boast to Lee McDonnell.
As well as that, so while Lee McDonnell is in prison, there are a number of attempts to escape, to abscond, to go on the run.
Yeah, there's one really high-profile incident that made national headlines in December 2014. He was in Portlaoise prison at the time. Because he was such a bad character in prison, he exerted control, even despite his young age, over a number of different inmates. He was constantly moved around the prison system, and at that time, in December 2014, he was in Portlaoise prison. He was taken on a prison escort to the Mater Hospital for a hospital appointment, and on the way back, the prison escort van was stopped outside a chipper in Inchicore. And whatever happened during that stop, Lee McDonnell managed to break free. He got out of his handcuffs and ran from the prison van. And, given the volatile nature of who he was a serious criminal in his own right, even at that stage, more than 12 years ago. Garda bulletin was issued for his arrest. Gardaí across the city and further afield were put on alert that this dangerous criminal was at large. And in that 5-week period that he was on the run, he was goading Gardaí and prison officials. He was putting up images on social media with his fingers to the camera, very pointed, like, I'm on the run, what are you going to do about it? And it took about 5 weeks for authorities to catch up with him, and he was arrested that kind of late January 2015 in Rolla Avenue, I believe it was, in Clondalkin, and finally taken back into custody.
And indeed, prior to that, 3 prison officers were injured and other inmates were terrorised when he tried to escape from a courthouse holding cell. So he clearly was of the view, despite his high profile and being well known to the Gardaí and to the authorities, that he could escape, he could go on the run, and he didn't really care that he would ultimately be caught and brought back in. There was never any attempt to abscond out to Spain or Dubai or anything like that.
No, far from it. And even that prison van break in 2014, he was found 5 kilometres away in Clondalkin a few weeks later and was living in the area at the time. So there weren't any great plans to flee the jurisdiction, try to get away, even go up to the north for a bit. He was hanging around the area, and it just shows the kind of thought process or lack of there sometimes, where a person of his nature, of his notoriety, just decided to leave, run out of prison custody, knowing full well that he would be brought back in at some stage and probably have some term added on to his sentence ultimately as well. So this, it again, shows what kind of character he was, and that he just simply didn't really care or put too much thought into what he was doing at times.
Now, he's linked, it's fair to say, to 2 murders. Talk to me about those 2 cases.
Yeah, so I suppose the more prominent one, and the one he's more definitively linked to, would be the 2022 murder of Gary Carey. He was a 41-year-old criminal known as the Canary, and he was shot dead at the Hilton Hotel car park in Kilmainham in June of that year. He was initially seriously injured. He passed away several weeks later in hospital, and that Garda investigation eventually identified Lee McDonnell as the chief suspect for that murder. They began receiving intelligence within a few weeks that he was going around Ballyfermot. He was driving a sort of motorised go-kart at the time, and he was gone. It was a bizarre scene by all accounts. He was driving around this go-kart and telling anyone who'd listened to him or who came across that he'd taken out the Canary, which was Gary Carey's nickname. Garda began focusing in on him, and they were certainly building significant amounts of evidence against him. There were social media messages of him trying to procure a firearm, which Garda believed was linked to that murder. There was other messages online through Facebook with his then partner about creating a false alibi for him. That woman did give an alibi for Lee McDonnell, and that was eventually cancelled out because they saw these messages in which they were trying to concoct the story about where he was on that day. A file was submitted to the Director of Public Prosecutions. Garda in that recommended that Lee McDonnell be charged with murder. At the time of his death, no direction had yet come. He was arrested as part of that investigation in May 2023. And again, his erratic behaviour, he didn't have much to say, but he carried out his own dirty protest. He defecated in the Garda cell. He smeared his faeces all over the cell, and that was kind of the height of his interaction with Garda when he was arrested.
Yeah, again, using Facebook, leaving a trail of evidence behind him, whether that was recklessness, a lack of criminal intellect, whatever you'd call it, there seems to have been a trail left all the time in terms of his crimes.
Yeah, like even how Garda copped onto him in the first instance was the fact that he was bragging about carrying out this murder, so it shows the lack of thought there. The Facebook account he was using, it was in his own name. It wasn't like he had an alias to, send these incriminating messages. It was his own Facebook account. Garda got access to that and were able to see that he was creating a false alibi for the time of the murder, and that he was trying to procure a firearm. There's also other information that even McDonnell had met with Gary Carey in the weeks before this murder, which also was, a pattern and a motive for the crime, that he was effectively trying to carry out surveillance or lure Gary Carey into some kind of false sense of security before actually being the man who Gary certainly suspects shot him dead in that car park.
There's a second murder that he's linked to, I suppose, not as squarely as the Gary Carey murder, though.
Yeah, it'd be a more tentative link. So a few months after Gary Carey was shot dead, a drug dealer named Cormac Berkeley was shot dead in Clondalkin outside his house. He'd been under threat for some time. Garda had informed him that there was a threat against his life, and that December he was shot dead. Now, that investigation did crop up, or Lee McDonnell's name did crop up in that investigation as a potential person of interest, given the fact that he's a suspect in a recent murder, given the fact that both of those killings were carried out by the crime gang known as the Family. And there was also other kind of indications that he may have been involved. I think a car used in that murder of Cormac Berkeley was later found burnt out in Ballyfermot, which we've seen in other crimes where, people associated with a certain killing do tend to, in some cases, go back to near where they're living at the time to make a quick escape back to their house. It was more of a tentative link, though, than the Gary Carey thing. I don't think Lee McDonnell was even arrested over that Berkeley murder. He was just a person of interest, or a person Garda were looking at, but certainly it wasn't on the same level as the Gary Carey case, where you have a file submitted to the Director of Public Prosecutions recommending a murder charge.
Take us on then to more recent times. McDonnell he's back in jail again in 2024. What's that for him? How long has he been out then?
Yeah, so he's been in, I think if you tally it up, he spent the majority of his adult life in prison for various offending. So he's out by May or early 2023, he's out. And again, this incident really shows his impulsiveness. There's a funeral happening in Ballyfermot. As is kind of typical, a lot of these funerals of young people killed in these kind of areas, there was a large amount of motorbikes and scramblers in the procession, which happens a lot. And Gardaí were in the area. They noticed that one of these scrambler bikes had crashed into a buggy, or a young woman, nearly hit a young woman pushing a buggy. They tried to intervene, and a large crowd gathered around them, and the Gardaí came under attack. And Lee McDonnell was on a bus at the time, public transport, just driving by the scene. He no involvement in the funeral or wasn't attending it. He saw what was happening and just decided to get off the bus, hop off and get involved. And it just shows his pure impulsiveness. He was always up for a row, always willing to get himself involved in trouble, even if, it didn't come to his door. It was just opportunistic more than anything else. And he later pleaded guilty to a fray as part of that incident. He was jailed for 2.5 years, and I think he was one of the only people to receive a significant jail sentence from that, because he was so identifiable leaving the scene. There's, I think, social media footage played a massive part in that, and guard identifications. He didn't try to hide his identity. He, you could see him clearly, his really kind of distinguishable features as well. Just at the scene involved in this attack, and then walking off after his then partner pulls him off. So it was just, again, wanton violence by Lee McDonnell just for the sake of it, and because it was, the opportunity presented itself.
Yeah, so then he's back out then in more recent times, but then we have a tragic incident in recent weeks, and things spiral from there. So talk to me about what happened. People will remember the recent sunny spell that we had a couple of weeks back. It's around that time that this incident happens.
Yeah, so it was May 30th, which was a Saturday. It was around 10 o'clock. And a young man from Ballyfermot, he's a 31-year-old, Thomas Griffin, was out at the War Memorial Gardens in Island Bridge. I think a number of people were there in some kind of social capacity. Whatever happened, Mr. Griffin received a number of injuries. Garda believe he was slashed in the face, and Lee McDonnell eventually would turn out to be the suspect for carrying out that slashing. Mr. Griffin attempted to flee. He swam across the bank, or across the River Liffey to the bank on the Chapel Lizard roadside. Unfortunately, he became ill there. Emergency services were alerted, and he was pronounced dead the next morning in St James's Hospital. Now, as part of the investigation, the post-mortem has been carried out, and while it's not believed that the injuries inflicted by Lee McDonnell caused his death, it must have been a contributing factor in some way to force him into that river. It wasn't a murder investigation as such, but investigation was going on. There was still a serious aggravated assault as part of that, and the lead up to Thomas Griffin's death. Lee McDonnell was certainly the chief suspect for that. There wasn't enough evidence at this stage to arrest him, but Gardaí were certainly working towards that, and he would be expecting a knock on door as part of that specific incident in the next few weeks.
And that knock on the door then comes last Saturday in effect.
Yeah, so that, I suppose, that Garda operation wasn't specifically linked to the Thomas Griffin assault, but it was linked to a High Court warrant. Lee McDonnell had been at large. He'd been, as he does, facing numerous charges before the courts, and he'd been in breach of his bail. And a decision was made by Garda management locally that, look, we're going to take this guy in. He's suspected of a serious assault now, and he's an absolutely reckless individual, and we just want him off the streets, and we have excuse now because he's been breaching his bail conditions. That happened last Saturday afternoon at around 4 o'clock. There was a really heavy Garda presence, which shows, again, the kind of individual Lee McDonnell was, and there were Gardaí held him in for having such a massive presence. There was Armed Support Unit Gardaí, there was Public Order Units, there was the Garda Air Support Unit, there was local detectives. A really, significant presence in Cherry Orchard to arrest him for simple bail breaches. There was social media footage of that. He was taken out of the house. He tried to resist a little bit, but he was, frog marched into the van with no major efforts made to resist. There's a bit of resistance, but he was brought in. He's taken back to Clondalkin Garda Station, and then shortly afterwards, after being brought back, Gardaí noticed he's becoming unresponsive in the cell. They, in fairness, tried their best to resuscitate him. Emergency responders are called. They tried to resuscitate Lee McDonnell, and he's pronounced dead a short time later. Because that happened in Garda custody, it's been referred to Fionnán, the police ombudsman. But early indications certainly were that Lee McDonnell did ingest a large amount of drugs, possibly cocaine, when he knew Gardaí were at his door. And that, I don't think that it's believed that was personal consumption. I think he was expecting to go to prison, and possibly was, ingesting a large amount of cocaine to take into prison with him to secrete those drugs so he could have them later on.
So he either presumably swallowed small bags or capsules containing cocaine that he would then recover, I suppose you say, when he was in prison. Yeah,
that was the early working theory. Now it's been taken over by Fionnán. They're obviously leading the investigation. The post-mortem examination would have confirmed that. We haven't heard details of that yet, but that was certainly the working theory, that the death of Lee McDonnell was attributed to that.
Yeah. So obviously Garda investigation, FISTRU investigation into that matter, and over time you'd expect that some form of evidence or theories will come forward. So, Robin, while the death of any young person is tragic, was there an inevitability here with Lee McDonnell that he was always going to die young?
Yeah, I think it was. You see it in many cases where young people involved in this level of violence for so long. It only goes two ways normally. It ends up in a significant prison sentence, which he could potentially have been facing if he was charged with that murder of Gary Carey, or they die in some kind of incident. There might have been, the fact that he lived to see 34 may have been the most surprising part of this all, given what he's involved in over the years. I said there, it is tragic. He was still a partner, he was a son, he was a brother to people, and, some people have in Ballyfermot and are mourning his loss, but a lot of people as well are breathing a sorry relief, because for, that community over the space of over 10 years, nearly 15 years, he was an absolute loose cannon, causing, all those crimes. A lot of those crimes we mentioned at the start of this podcast, they were carried out against the people of Ballyfermot, against business owners, and even when he was jailed a number of years ago, there was a noticeable decrease in the crime in Ballyfermot. So, while a lot of people will mourn his death, an awful lot more people also breathe a sigh of relief that he's no longer on the streets to cause chaos.
Okay, and at the same time, we still have 2 unsolved murders that he is linked to, and possibly other crimes as well that now I suppose will never be resolved as a result of his passing.
That's it. He is the chief suspect in that Gary Carey murder. There are other suspects for logistical involvement, but he was certainly the man Garda believed pulled the trigger. Nobody will ever be brought to book over that. And same in relation to the assault on Thomas Griffin. It mightn't have been directly the cause of his death, but it was certainly a serious assault on a young man who had to flee across a river and died a short time later. And again, nobody will know, or it's very unlikely that anyone will be brought to justice over those 2 incidents.
Okay, Robin Schiller, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, Fionnán.